What's up guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Oba aka MMO Force, and we're finishing up my healing guide video trio of this video is the Operative or Scoundrel healing guide. But before I jump into it, please check out my AMR link in the description below. It's going to show you everything you need to know for your character sheet. So it's going to show your stat priorities, what best in slot's going to look like, your bonus sets, what relics you should use, and what augments you should use. Make sure you use fucking main stat augments. Don't use power, please. Thank you. And let's get to the rest of the guide here. So for my skill tree, I do 38-3-5. The only 2 points you can really play around with is right here, med shield. You can put it over here, but that's personal preference. So beware. Everything else I recommend following exactly. So let's jump into the guide here. So I'm pretty much just going to go through my abilities, show you how I heal, and give you some tips, pointers, whatever. So an operative healer is very different from the mercenary and the sorcerer healer. They rely on procs, RNG, also too, operatives are going to be doing some overhealing. Then they need to do overhealing, unlike the mercenary or the sorcerer. Also too, if you haven't checked out those videos, please go check them out. I'll leave links over here in the corner. Now for an operative, operatives rely on tactical advantages. From here on out, I'm just going to call them TAs. For every hot ability that you can do, which there are a few and I'll go over them in a second, each tick, by each tick I mean each time it heals somebody, it's going to give them it's going to give you a 30% chance to get a tactical advantage. Now it doesn't seem like a high percentage, but there is a shitload of ways to get it, so you'll always have tactical advantages. And since you're always going to have them, I always recommend having one up at all times, because it's also going to give you a percentage of an increased healing. So I always recommend having one up. If you have to use it, you have to use it. Now there are a few different ways in getting tactical advantages. The main way that you want to do it is from your AoE heal. Now what I normally do with my AoE heal is I keep it over by the tanks or the melee, because you know you're always gonna be healing the tanks or whatever group is gonna need the most AoE heals. Now the way the AoE heal works is whoever you're highlighted on at the time. So right now I'm highlighted on Vector. If I go to put my AoE heal on him, it's gonna get everybody. It's gonna get 4 people within 10 meters of him. So make sure you're aware how it works. And each tick, it's gonna give you a 30% chance to get a TA, and that's up to 4 people. So that's a lot of ticks. So that's gonna pretty much be your main way of getting TAs. So you want to keep that around the biggest group possible. So this ability is always going to be on cooldown. Kolto probe, what I do from the get-go is I put 2 stacks on the main tank. I usually keep one on the side, the secondary tank, and then I usually keep one on myself. Now it's kind of hard to keep it up with 3 people, and you need to always be looking at your operation frames to keep it up. You know, to be aware of when it's gonna go out. So you know, you always want to keep those stacks on those people. So I always recommend 2 or more people that you want to keep Kolto probes on. Now Kolto ejection, it's gonna 100% chance gonna give you a TA every time you use it. Now it takes 2 seconds to cast it, but it's also a big heal too. If it crits, it's gonna crit with more than 10k. It's a giant heal, and it only takes 2 seconds to cast it. Now, once you use these abilities to get your TAs, actually, there's one more way of getting a TA, and let me just get out this real quick. Now, any operative or scoundrel healer, there is no reason at all that you should not be using Shiv or Blaster Whip. If you are next to a mob, or next to the boss, and you don't have a tactical advantage, or your TA is about to run out and you can't get lucky and get it to refresh. There's no reason that you cannot use Shiv. So make sure you use Shiv. It's going to give you a TA every time, and it costs only 15 energy. That is nothing. So be aware that is a big trick as a operative or a scoundrel healer to use Shiv or Blaster Whip to give yourself a TA. It helps you out so many times, especially in PvP. So make sure you always use Shiv when you need it. So with these main abilities to give yourself a TA, usually what I do is I always keep Kolto Infusion for the tank. And when you use this ability, it's going to take away a TA, but it's also going to do an initial heal, and then it's going to leave a 9-second tick, and each one of those ticks is going to give you another 30% chance to give you another TA. So as you can see, there is a shitload of ways to get TAs, and the two abilities that you use these TAs on is Kolto Infusion and Surgical Probe. Now, your main heal ability that you're always going to be pumping out on players is Surgical Probe. I always keep these going crazy all the time on tanks, whoever needs it. It's an instant ability. It's a great heal. It's free if the player is under 30% HP, so there's no reason, you know, not to use it. It's a great heal ability. That's probably going to be your main heal ability that you're always going to be doing all the time. Also, to Diagnostic Scan, I'll use this if I'm around, let's say, 60-65% energy. I'll give myself some downtime, and I'll throw a scan or two out there. So I'm giving myself some downtime to recover energy, and then each crit of that ability is going to give me a few more energy back. So it's very rarely used, but you know, it's there if you need it. And same thing with Adrenaline Probe. It's there if you need it. If you're really in an oh shit moment, just go ahead and pump out all your fucking energy, and then go ahead and revive yourself with your Adrenaline Probe. Stim boost. It's going to give you some more alacrity, so your cast ability is going to be a little short for another 15 seconds. And it's going to give you another TA. So if you do use Stim Boost, be aware. Make sure you're not at 3 stacks, or if you need a TA, go ahead and use it, because it's going to give you a TA when you use Stim Boost. And it's going to make your abilities cast faster. So be aware. Pretty much that's all the things you can really do as a operative healer. The main thing that I suggest doing as any healer is to go on your ship, go on the fleet, just practice your rotation that you would do as a healer. What I like now, granted, healers don't really have a set rotation, but they also kind of do, and I use that very loosely. So like I said, go on the ship, go on your fleet, go on the fleet, go on your ship, and just go ahead, practice your rotation on a dummy or a companion, whatever. And what I like to do is I like to pretend I'm in a regular healing scenario where, you know, a moderate amount of healing is going on, and then I like to pretend, you know, all of a sudden a big burn phase came up on the tanks or on the players where I need a lot of heals going out to a lot of different players, and I like to, you know, put myself in a dangerous situation with energy and see if I can recover from that and still put out a moderate amount of heals, you know, without killing my resource. So, you know, that's a great tip for you to do as a healer. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you haven't checked out my other videos, go check them out, like I said before. That's pretty much it. Like, subscribe, comment, and peace out.